Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for Topcon Solutions AutoCAD Tips and Tricks webinar. I hope you can all see my screen just fine. I'm your host, Vinnie Stamato. I'm an application specialist and an ACI here at Topcon Solutions. So today's agenda, I'll demonstrate some tips and tricks for the new user, and then we'll work our way into tips and tricks for the experienced user in AutoCAD. I'll be using AutoCAD 2020. Afterward, we will have a presentation by Rob Gadbaw, the developer of the Topcon AutoCAD Briefcase. This is a toolkit as a productivity and add-in plugin, which has many time-saving features and workflows, which I know you're absolutely going to love. So Topcon Solutions is the retail division of Topcon Positioning Systems, the worldwide leader in construction layout, machine automation, and land surveying products. Our software division is a platinum tier award-winning Autodesk partner and certified training center, as well as a Bluebeam platinum level partner. There are 13 Topcon Solutions stores located throughout the US, and we currently offer live and in-person training. I'm gonna go ahead and share my, my webcam here. Hello, everybody. It's great to see you all today. I'm not really seeing you all, but you can see me. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So briefly, we'll go into about our presenters. So about me, I've worked in construction for over 25 years in the field, in project management, and now as a software trainer. I have a degree in construction management, certification in civil construction, and I'm an Autodesk certified instructor. And now I'd like to introduce to you Rob Gadbaw.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm not going to show my camera today, but I've been in this industry for a very long time. My expertise has been Civil 3D for many years. I started a company called Kobilabs about 6 years ago, and we just developed tools for Revit, Civil 3D, AutoCAD, Plant 3D, basically anything on top of an Autodesk product. And I'm going to be showing you our AutoCAD flavor of tools today. So that's it from me.
Well, thank you, Rob.
Yep.
All right, so let's get rolling here, folks. So to start out here today, I'm going to cover some AutoCAD tips. And most of the tips I'm going to cover are for the new and or intermediate user. And for you power users, Rob's got the bulk of the presentation that's going to really capture your attention. So the first tip for today I'd like to talk about is AutoCAD shortcut keys. So we created that shortcut keys PDF and hand that out to our classes. And it's just a good reference to give you a little jump start on which keys to key in to get to the commands that you're looking for. The nice thing about the shortcut keys is that it does help speed up time. So if you're in your drawing and you're clicking on your ribbon and looking around for tools, that could take you some time, whereas just typing in keystrokes, like in this case, I'll just type in DI for distance. I've got my little distance command and I'm ready to go. And the idea here is, using both hands on your keyboard, giving your left hand or your non-mouse hand, if you're a lefty with your mouse, something to do rather than, just have the one hand doing all the work. And same for Polyline. So shortcut key for Polyline, as we all know this, PL comes up in the command. And the next thing I wanted to talk about is tooltips. So the tooltip is this little window that pops up when you hover over a command. And it just gives you a real brief explanation of the tool and how it's used. And you can see the tooltip in any one of these commands. I can just hover over any one of these commands and a tooltip will pop up. And the same as I hover over any command in my ribbon, I get a tooltip on how that particular tool works. I'm going to type in OP for options, and in options, under display is where my tooltips are actually located. If you don't have it turned on and would like it, you can turn it on here. If you have it turned on and it's in your way and you don't necessarily need it, you could turn it off, or you could put a little time delay right here on, so it'll give you some time before the tooltip pops up. So tooltips and shortcut keys. So along with the shortcut keys, AutoCAD refers to these as command aliases, also known as shortcut keys. So let's face it, folks, we're in the business of keystrokes and mouse clicks. And the more efficiently we can use our machines, the more we can save time in our workflows. So let's take a look at our command aliases or keystrokes. So under the Manage tab and under the Custom User Interface, I'm going to scroll down to Keyboard Shortcuts and Shortcut Keys. So here is a list of all the shortcut keys that are currently in my version of AutoCAD. And over here on the right is that same list. And if you are interested, you could go ahead and print this list out as well. Now, what I want to show you next is how to create your own shortcut keys. So some of these may not be to your liking. So down here in the command list, on the lower left of this pane, these are all the commands that are currently in my AutoCAD. And I'm going to just type in Q for quick, and I want to make a shortcut key for quick measure. And the way I'm going to do that is I am just going to single left click on the quick measure text. And you can see I get that little plus sign node, and I'm going to drag it up right up here to shortcut keys and drop it right in there. And you can see I've already placed one in there. I've already created this. Just wanted to show this as an example. So now I've got this quick measure tool in my shortcut keys, and if I come over in properties under access in the cell where it says keys, I'm going to click in that, open up this ellipsis button, and here I'm going to type in Shift and Q to create my shortcut key for quick measure. And you could do this for any kind of shortcut key that you wish. And it says that it's currently assigned. If it was not assigned in here, it would say that it's available. And I'm just going to hit cancel because it's already assigned. I've already got it. And I'll cancel out of this. So now for the quick measure tool, in my utilities panel, under quick, so there's a couple clicks there. I've got my home click, clicking in measure, grabbing the quick measure tool. And now you'll see the quick measure tool for 2020's got a few more options in quick measure. So I'm just hovering this tool inside my drawing, and it's just giving me a quick rough idea of some of the dimensions inside my drawing. Now that I've created a shortcut key for it, I'll type Shift Q and then enter, and then my shortcut key shows up. So one way to use both hands using that shortcut key and creating your own shortcut key. Okay. And we looked at extended tooltips. Next tip I want to talk about is selection cycling. So in my drawing, when I'm, just get out of this, there we go. So in a drawing, when you're hovering over an object and you want to click on something, sometimes there's a lot of data in the same exact place. Here I've got blocks, line work, I could have XREFs in here. So the selection cycling is one way to select the actual object that you're looking for. So in my customization bar here is my selection cycling. And that's this little icon down here. Went ahead and turned it on. So now as I'm hovering and I want to select on a specific object, here you can see it's giving me the option of selecting a block reference or selecting the line. And you can see as I shift from block reference to line, it's giving me the option to select either or. And once again, this isn't a very busy drawing. It's just nice that it's got some data crammed in on top of one another. Same thing here. So I could select my polyline, I could select the individual line, or I could select this particular line. So it's just giving me the option. And depending on how many objects are in that space, I could scroll through here to select something individually. So it's a nice little tool option if you're in an extremely busy drawing and you're trying to select objects. So that's selection cycling. Another time-saving tip, folder navigation time savings using the Windows Places location. So when I go to open a file, there's a lot of places I could go to open my files. This pane over here in my Windows browser, this gray pane, is what's known as the Windows Places. Some of you may know this. Others of us haven't seen this before, so I'm just going to scroll back. So I want to have, let's say, access to all my AutoCAD files. Say I've got just a whole load inside this files folder of AutoCAD drawings. I could single left click on it, drag it over here to the places, and there it is, files. So this navigation bar can be anywhere, just for reference. And as soon as I go to select a file, I could have this folder located right here in the places and easy access to it. And if you've already got folders in here that you don't wish to have in there, simple right click and remove, and it takes it right out of there. So that's a little time-saving tip for you there. And no on that. So Windows Places. Next time-saving tip, folks, is I'm going to talk about the ncopy command. So ncopy, known as nested copy, is a way to copy nested objects such as line work, objects themselves, text, blocks from an XREF drawing. So in this particular case, I've got this little office space that I've created, and I want to add some electrical fixtures and some other objects. And I know I created this apartment at one point, and I've got switches and receptacles. I've even got this little kitchenette and this little sink and countertop. So a real simple and easy way without having to explode the drawing and create fragments of data. I could use ncopy. So I'm just going to type in ncopy, and it's asking me to select the nested objects. So it's going to come right in here to this XREF, and I'm going to be able to select these objects. And if you use this, you know it's a bit of a time savings. It's just one extra tool. So I've gone ahead and select the objects that I'd like to copy into my drawing. I'm going to hit enter. I'll select a base point. I'm just going to select the center here of this light. And now these three objects have been copied from that XREF. And now I could go ahead and make a copy of any one of these objects, save them as a right block if I wish, and bring them into this drawing and go ahead and populate this drawing with these objects. I did the same thing over here. I've got this little sink and countertop detail that I went ahead and copied. And I'm not going to go through this painstaking detail, but another process with ncopy is I just copied each one of these individual pieces of line work, copied this little kitchenette set, and brought it right into this drawing as a kitchenette. Just one other tool that AutoCAD has for us in the mini tools that's available to us. So I kind of like this so I don't have to redraw things 2 or 3 times. All right, next, let's take a look at another time-saving tool, the action recorder. So the action recorder tool, it's a simple tool for creating a macro function. So you'll find it under the Manage tab, and it's in the action recorder panel. Over here on the far left of our ribbon, here is our action recorder. And I'm just going to show a real simple macro. I'm going to create a hex nut. It's simple to create and simple to demonstrate. And we'll talk about how the action recorder actually works. So in the action recorder, I've got a bunch of previously created macros. You can see I've created a couple hex nuts in there already. I could select any one of those macros and hit play, and it will just create the object that I'm after. So let's go ahead and actually record these macros. So every mouse click is going to be recorded as soon as I hit the record button. So once we do that, the action tree shows up and you'll see each individual step in the action tree. So I'm going to start off with creating a polygon, and I'm going to give it 6 sides. And I'm going to specify a center point randomly, and I'm going to use inscribed. Then it's going to want a radius. I'm going to type in 10 for my radius. Next, I'm going to type in circle. And I'm going to pick the center. And then I'll type in a radius. And now I'm done. So I'm not going to select anything else. I'll go ahead and hit stop. And now it gives me this little drop-down box. I can give it a name. Hex nut number 1. And OK. Invalid characters. So it's going to want some valid characters. So for now, let's see. Just call it hex. See if it takes those. I think it was the spaces that it didn't like. Okay, so I've created this hex macro. And next thing I want to show you is inside this little action tree, it's going to allow for user input. So I know that this hex is going to start out with a polygon. If I right click on the number of sides and select pause for user input, it's going to allow me a pause where I can actually put some input. I'm going to do that same thing for the center of my polygon, and I'll do the same thing for the size of my, for the radius of the polygon. The circle down here portion, you could see it's actually locating the center of the inscribed polygon. And then for radius over here, I'm going to go ahead and select pause for user input again. And let's see how this works. And at this point, this it's pinned to my screen, and I can unpin it, and away it goes. Tool palettes, sorry, I'll talk about you guys another time. All right, so now I could cycle through here. There's my hex. I'm going to go ahead and hit play. So the first command, it's looking for a number of sides. I'm going to go with the 6, and you could type in any sides, 6, 7, 8, 5, 4. So center of my polygon. I could type in my actual location that I want. For this case, I am just going to go ahead and press my left mouse. The next, it's asking for a radius. It's calling radius of a circle, but that's the inscribed circle that's inside the radius of the polygon itself. I'll type in a radius of 10. And then it right away goes to creating a circle, and it's asking for a radius. I'll type in a radius of 5, and there it is. Macro is complete. And I'll close it. So I know this was a rather simplification of this tool, just a couple of quick steps. However, the idea here is, as a time-saving tip, if there are functions that you find that you repeat over and over again, you could use this little macro recorder, the action recorder, and just go in and click on the, click on the macro that you want, pop it into your drawing, and plug away. So another nice little time-saving tip. And at this point, we've gone through my portion of the webinar, and I would like to turn it over to Rob Gadbaw, and Rob's going to take us through the Topcon Solutions AutoCAD Briefcase, which I know you're going to love. And then after that, we'll have some time for questions.
All right, thank you. All right, let's see if I can figure out how to share my screen here. And are you seeing my AutoCAD screen?
I can see it, Rob.
Okay, it is the AutoCAD one, not the other blank screen, right?
It's the AutoCAD screen.
All right, great. All right, so thank you for that presentation. So what I'm going to be showing you here is the AutoCAD Briefcase. So this is Topcon's. I own the company that develops these tools for them. One thing I want to point out here, before we get too far into this, is that the idea behind these tools is we try to come out with a new tool, between 4 and 6 new tools a year. We really are looking for customer feedback, anything. We don't care what it is, but if if you have some real pain points with AutoCAD, let your rep know at Topcon there, like, oh, hey, could you actually do this or that? I mean, anything's possible. And we know we're just filling gaps. There's things, eventually maybe the next version of AutoCAD might come out and do exactly what we do. That's fine. There's always going to be these holes, and that's what we're trying to do with this set of tools. So, when you guys get these or buy these or whatever, we don't charge you for the next tools that we're coming out with throughout the year. We just automatically throw them in there, and then all you have to do is you go up here to the About, and when this screen comes up, or hopefully it comes up, there it is, you can check to see if you have the latest version or not. And if you don't, you can actually click on a link and it'll actually take you and show you what's new. So you can decide at that point, do I really want to install this? Oh yeah, there's a new tool there, but yeah, I don't really feel like it's going to be that worthwhile for us, so I don't want to install it on 50 different machines. But maybe halfway through the year you may look, it's like, oh yeah, there's 4 new tools there. Let's install this, and just automatically it would install that for you. Okay, so just wanted to get that out of the way. We absolutely love ideas, and these are just some ideas that we either came up with or some customers came up with. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I'm not going to show every single tool here, but I'm going to kind of go through, the majority of them. So to start out over here is a selection filter. Is basically being able to go out and select things. So like, if you right click in here and you try to do a quick select, you can go in here and find out what you have in the model here. I want to go and find a polyline, and then, you can type in all this stuff. Well, basically this selection filter here basically comes in and shows us everything I have in my model right now. So, I've got all the different polylines, so I could quickly go in and say, hey, go find all the polylines on this layer here or that layer there. And basically I just go, okay, and it's gone through and selected all of those. So this basically works with everything that you have in your model, or just what you have selected there. So you see there that it only brings up the stuff that I had selected at that time. And we do have different ways to be able to filter this. So you may say, I want to filter everything by the layers so I can see everything on the layers, or, by the type, or both. Okay. Just a simple little tool. This one, select elements on layers. You always have this command in here. If you select something on screen, you can right click on that right there. And I can actually go, select similar here, which basically goes out and finds all the polylines on that layer. Okay, well, I want to find everything on that layer. So that's all what this command does here, is I can just select it on screen, come up here and go select elements on layer, and it's gone through and found everything. So there's 16 items on that layer there. So basically it allows me to go through. Customers came to us and they wanted to be able to, a quick way to manage their model, to see, okay, what's all on layer 0 right now. Instead of me having to go up and isolate layer 0 or things like that, they can quickly select things and then say, hey, let's move this over to another layer. Show X data, I'm not going to show that one right now. That's just really if you've got some info, some X data associated to something, we can see those properties. Spreadsheet properties, this is just a way to be able to change a few things here. So like if I go ahead and say, hey, let's just grab all three of these. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go spreadsheet properties. It's going to bring up what looks like Excel spreadsheet. So if I just stretch this box up here, and it's actually the hatches. So I've got the three hatches here, and you can come over here and you can see, well, I've got the colors. Well, I might want to say, hey, I want to change these colors here, and you can see which one I'm at there. So if I just say, hey, let's change that color to 5, let's change this one to 2, and let's change this one to 7. Okay, and if I hit apply, then you can see I've just changed all those colors. Or 256 is actually by layer. So if I actually select on all those and I hit apply, then I've actually just changed them all to by layer if I wanted to. But I'm going to leave those colors as is or something in here. So let's go 4, and I'm going to hit apply. And it really just depends of what you have selected. I can change elevations. I mean, we're basically got your properties in here, but I have multiple things selected, different types. So I've only grabbed the hatch there. But if I go ahead and get out of that and I say, hey, let's grab the hatch and let's grab this and let's grab that here. And now if I go back to the tool, you'll actually see I've got a hatch and I've got polylines, and I can actually see all those different properties, but it shrinks them down so I can change certain properties that are across the board on all of these. Okay. The next tool is this align tool. This is one of our newest tools here. I'm just going to draw a line here like this. Let me just do something very simple here. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. F8 here. Okay, there's a just a line, and then I'm going to just draw a few rectangles here. Let's just do that. Let's do this. All right. And so what I want to do is I want to align all those on that. Say these were like catch basins or something like that, you know, you want to do. So if I just go in here and go align, I'm going to grab all those. I'm going to then grab this line here. And basically I get an option in here. What do you want to do? Oh, I want to actually take all those right over there. And can you also rotate those for me at the same time? And I can also change the location of where these are being placed. And as you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see it very well on your screen, but there's actually a box around this. So we basically are taking the extents of it, and that's really what we're trying to do, is move it to the locations of that extents. Okay, but it's just a quick little simple tool to be able to align items. All right, so 3D polylines. Okay, so you know we're just using plain AutoCAD here, and so what I want to do is I want to create some work with some 3D polyline commands in here. So the first thing I want to do though is I'm going to quickly throw my drawing here into 2 viewpoints so I can actually see what's going on here. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this stuff here. Let's just get rid of that. And I'm just going to draw a polyline here at the moment. So let's go here. All right, so there's my polyline. And so now I want to actually start elevating this, you know. So I want to take this and I'm going to say, let's set this elevation at 100. And oh, there you can see the whole thing just moved up in the air. Okay. Because it's a 2D polyline, every vertice now is exactly the same. So they're all at 100. Well, I don't really want that. So what I'm going to do is come over here. I'm going to say convert this polyline to a 3D polyline. So I'm going to grab that. Okay. And I'm just going to press enter there. There is no curves in it. And so now I could absolutely go into this thing and say, hey, let's change this one to 150. And you'll now see how it goes up. And I had the opportunity there to either leave the original line there, or I could have deleted it. I just left it, but I'm going to manually delete it now. All right, so now that I've got this, I actually want to elevate this. I actually want to set the elevations, but I want it to be at a certain grade all the way through here. So I'm going to use this command here called interpolate 3D polyline. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to select my polyline. I'm going to select the very first vertex here and then say that's at 150. That's good. And then I could go ahead and just start picking different ones or whatever. I could type in last. I'm just going to go ahead and pick this one. It says, what elevation do you actually want there? I want that elevation to say 275. All right. I'm going to press enter. and it's going to ask me if I want to pick any more points. I don't. I've done that. And so now you can see, if you look at this polyline here, if I go to these elevations, you'll see that I've interpolated them all until the very last one is at 275. Okay, just a quick little simple tool. Our next release, we've got a new kind of a polyline command, 3D polyline command coming out. We're calling it feature line like Civil 3D, but basically this new command you'll actually have is you'll be able to start picking pick points, and it'll prompt you for the elevations. So like right now when you're drawing a 3D polyline, you're basically just picking points here, and it's not really giving you the option to start typing in the elevation. You're editing it afterwards. Their new one's going to give you that ability and to create curves on a 3D polyline. Well, right now, it's very difficult, if even impossible, to actually create a curve on this. This is a 3D polyline now. I want to actually create a curve along this at the grade. And so up in here, I've got fillet, 3D fillet here. So if I select that, it says select your 3D polyline. I will. And then it says, I've got an option to say, do I want to put a curve on all of these? I have the option to change the mid-ordinate distance. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and select on this one right here. And there you can see the curve. And right now I've got a radius in there of 500. We've got two other options in here. We've got max radius, where it would try to put in the maximum radius it could put in. Or I could say half of the shorter length. So like this leg here might actually be shorter than this one. And I want to make sure the curve goes to the halfway point or midpoint of that line. I'm just going to change this to say 200. I'm going to press enter, and then it's going to ask me for mid ordinance. I'm just going to press enter there, and it's going to take a few seconds, but there it is. So I've now just created this, and this is in 3D. And if you click on it, you're now going to see that what it's done through there was create all these vertices. Now, this isn't a true curve, of course. If I actually take this and move it, you're going to see that it's going to go out like that. But I mentioned a moment ago about a new command that we have coming out with a 3D polyline. What's going to happen with that? It's going to do the exact same thing, but it's only going to show you a vertex in the middle. So you can move it, and it's going to treat it like it's a actual curve. And anytime I could turn it off to where I'm seeing all these vertices, but we're going to treat this as an actual curve and only show you a vertex at the start and the end and the midpoint, and so you can manipulate it. It's a pretty slick tool, but we're just not quite finished yet with it. Next thing here is a 3D offset. Okay, once again, these are just some simple little commands that are difficult to do inside standard AutoCAD here. So 3D offset, I'm going to say let's offset it, say 10, and then vertically 5. Okay, so I can select it, and I'll select it over here, and then I'll do one more here. Let's do this one, and let's go 20, and then off a 0. I don't really want to give it any elevation changes. And so there you can actually see in here, it's done it all in 3D. I've got those offsets in there. Okay, so just some nice little quick tools to be able to do that stuff. All right, so let me change my view back. I got a few more tools here to show you. So let's go back to a single view. Let's come up here. All right, so in here we've got what's called label elevation and label slope. So back in the day when I started out, I was creating profiles manually, just kind of using a grid, offset this line here and here, and just draw these things manually. Nowadays I use Civil 3D and stuff, but right now inside, if you're still doing this stuff plain AutoCAD, it's difficult. So what I've done here is I'm assuming this is a profile. And I've got I can change the vertical exaggeration on this and say it's 10 times or 1 time, whatever. So if I go here to label elevation, at the bottom, I've got some options here, base and settings. I'm going to go B for base first. So I'm going to say this is my base, and that base elevation there is 100. Okay. Then I'm going to go S for settings, and here I can actually specify my label style that I'm going to be using, the scale of it. I'm going to just say the scale of this is 1 to 1, and I want to see 2 decimal places. So if I go OK, now all I have to do is come up here and say start picking, and now you'll actually see that there is the elevation that we're actually getting. So I am actually placing those, and it's all based off of this base point down in here, whatever I set. Now, the next thing I want to do here is I want to label the slope. So I'm going to select on this. I'm going to press enter, and I can come in here and say, well, what kind of offset do you want? Do you want to label a slope or a grade? Is it going to be 2D? This one's 2D. I don't have a 3D set on here. I can quickly preview this, and it'll actually show me what that's going to be. If I escape, it'll bring back into the dialog box. I'm going to say slope. Let's go preview there, and it'll show you that slope in there also. So let's escape that. I'm going to do just grade, and I'm going to go OK, and there we go. Okay, so there you are. All right, so now that I've got that done, next command we got is a Polyline Wipeout. So you can see here we've got our polylines going through here, and you've got some contours in behind, some other lines. So what we can do is I can go Polyline Wipeout. It asks me what the distance of a wipeout I want. I'm going to say 10. I'm going to press enter. Then it says select your line or polyline, whatever. And I'm going to select on this. I'm going to press enter. And then I'm just going to say, yeah, from here to here, can you wipe out everything? And now you'll see that we've actually done that. And as you can tell there, it's actually, we've created a little wipeout that's actually turning that stuff off. So if you ever have that situation, you want to turn like through here again, let me try it again. Let's go in there, 10, I'm going to select this, press enter. I'm going to start from here to say there. And now I've actually hidden all that stuff in the background. Okay. All right, so we got 3 things in here, and I won't show you all of them, whatever, but they're, because of time-wise here, but we got block, we got hatch, and we got line type legend. Okay, they all basically work the same. So let me just go the block one here. It shows me every single block in the model at the moment, which I don't want. So I'm going to say unselect those. I'm going to click on this little plus sign, and I'm just going to go in and say, hey, let's just grab all of these right there. And there'll be a checkbox beside the ones that it finds. And I can put in descriptions in here, what style I'm going to use. We've got some different settings in here for your text height and stuff like that. I'm just going to go OK. I'm going to pick a little one there, and there it's actually just put in. Now this is all part of your styles, so whether this is actually middle center or stuff like that, that's what that does. And so we can customize this. It's just a table style. Same thing, I'm going to do some hatch here real quick. So let's just do hatch. Oh, I've got everything selected. I don't want that. Let's just grab a few of these here. Now, the size of this is too big for my little legend in here. So I'm going to just say, hey, change that to 0.5. Let's change this one to 0.5. And what is it? That one's to 0.5. I think I had one more in here. Let's go that one to 0.5. Let's just go OK. And let's pick a point. And now there you can see our little legend. Okay. Pretty simple, and it works the same way with line types too. So we can see all of our different line types in here. A way to create this legend. All right, so we're almost done here. A couple more things. Sum up all text. So I got a bunch of text in here. There it is. I can just come up here and say, hey, grab all this text, and I want to sum up the value of it. And I did, and right there in the middle, that gives me the 113. Okay, so I could have just picked on 2 of these things in here. Let's just do these 2. Pick a point, and there it is. Gives me another piece of text with this 15. Total length, this is kind of a cool one too. If I just draw a line in here also, I might do a few of them in here. I go total length. I can select a polyline, a couple polylines here, and it comes up and it shows you I've got 2 polylines and the total length of it. And I could do that again, and this time I'm going to say, let's do these here. And there it shows me I've got 2 lines and 2 polylines. There's the total of the lines, and there's polylines, and it'll give us the total down here. We can export this out too, but what we are going to be doing with this is changing this up, is customers want to be able to break these down. So see each individual one also, like expand this out, and to where you could then say, oh, hey, go find the one that is only, it's less than 100. So I could easily isolate that one that's less than 100. Okay. All right, create viewpoint. I love this one. All right, so here's my border here, and I want to create a viewpoint. Now, I'm sure everybody kind of knows how to do that. If you go in here and go, make a view here, and pick a point there, and then that brings it up, and then you're zooming in, and well, it's just painful if you ask me. So what we've done here is say, hey, let's go create a viewpoint. This is the margin, so it knows your sheet size that you've got set up here. So I'm saying, hey, let's go 2 inches down, 2 inches over, 2 inches up, and 5.5 inches over here. I'm going to create a viewpoint, or using this layout here. It says your standard scale, so I can pick my scale that I want, and I'm going to lock it. So I'm going to go OK. Automatically, it takes me into my model. All right, so here it is, and it shows me this is what it's going to look like in here. So at the command line, I have the option here to go R to rotate it. So I can say, let's rotate that, and then let's place it right here. I'm going to take off my O snaps. Let's do this one right there. And there it's come in, and it's now created that. And it is locked in there for me also. So just very quick, easy way to be able to get a viewpoint and see what you want to see straight away at the right scale. Okay. All right, so we're about finished here. Two more really that I want to show here is the rename sheets. So if you have sheet sets up, so let's go sheet set. Oh, sorry, I already had it up over here. All right, so here's my sheet sets. And I've got some sheets in here, and I've got some layouts down here. So we've got this. Now, I don't know if anybody's ever done this, but if you can go in here and say, hey, I want to rename and renumber the sheet. So you can go in and click on the first one, then you go next, and then you go to the next one. And well, man, if you've got 100 of them in there, good luck. It's going to take you a little while to do it. So what we've done here is say, hey, let's go rename and renumber sheets. All right, this dialog box comes up, shows me the old sheet number, the old sheet title, the new sheet number of the sheet. So all I can do up here and say, hey, let's really start. I'm going to do the whole thing, but I could have actually just picked where I want to start from. But I'm going to say, let's go, let's start here, and let's go starting at 20. Instead of calling this sheet, I'm going to call it PP for plan and profile here, basically. And I'm just going to go click on this. And now you can see it's go 20, 21, and then this is all PPP. I have the option here to rename these at the same time if I wanted to. Okay, I will say that, and I'm just going to go OK. And then now you'll see down here, all this is PP 20, 21, whatever. This is now 20, 21, stuff like that. Absolutely can go back in there and say, sorry, I meant to, that really should have been where it was. So I'm going to put it right back to what I had before. I'm going to run that down, set them all, but I can absolutely, go into these things in here and type in or do it, type that in, whatever I want. And I could have actually started renumbering from that point on too. But if I just go OK, it's now put it back to the way it was. All right, so the last one here is I got a whole bunch of blocks in here, and I really want to create, export this out into a file. So I can go export X, Y, and Z here. So let's just go here, and I'm going to just window this. And you'll notice here I've got a point here with some text beside it. And I'm going to go enter. And you'll notice right here, that's the one that it is, the peg. And so if it's an attribute, basically you can come up here and say, hey, the name of that point is whatever property you have in the attribute. So I created a property called name and elevation. The elevation tag means this. So that's the only one that's going to have that elevation in it. All the others are the same. You can see here, these are all just the name of the block. This one actually is giving me the name of whatever that point is, or whatever the name says it is. And then I could just export this out as a CSV. These other things are just simple little copy the folder that this file is located in and the file name. This is just gives you the ability just to go to these locations. Oh, can you go to the drawing directory for me? And if I just click on it, it actually pulls up the drawing directory. If I go in here and say, oh, can you go to my documents? Okay, so I clicked on this, and now you'll see there's my documents, so on and so forth. So that's all this is doing, is being able to quickly take you to those locations if you need to. That's it from me. I will pass it over. I guess we're probably going to be some questions here or whatever, but that's all of my presentation anyway.
Thank you so much, Rob.
Yep, no worries.
Fabulous, absolutely fabulous set of tools, and definitely a time savings. So I'm going to switch to my screen here and just want to show you folks, if you're interested, if you would like to download the TSS AutoCAD Briefcase, it's available on our website, Topcon Solutions / TSS AutoCAD Briefcase download. And right over here, you can see it's download. There's also a brochure that goes along with this too that kind of explains all the different tools and what you're getting. And as Rob said earlier, questions about licensing, you could talk to your sales rep. The way it works is you get a 30-day free trial of this download. And after that, you would need to have a licensed copy. And if you are purchasing software through Topcon Solutions, your sales rep will have an access code for you. So, and with that, any questions? Looks like we have a question for a more robust demonstration on Ncopy. And yes, absolutely. That was just a real brief kind of illustration of the Ncopy. And in the future, if we do another one of these, if that's something that you would like to see, we can do a more in-depth discussion on the Ncopy tool, certainly. All right. Well, thanks, folks. I don't see any more. Oh, cost. So great question, and that would be our sales folks would have that info. So that would be cost for the TSS AutoCAD Briefcase, and we can get that information out to you. Diana, if you just want to maybe track this one particular email.
Absolutely. Any of the questions, we will be more than happy to have someone follow up with you directly.
Great. Yeah, so if you do have a company license, I believe that you'd have to talk with your sales folks, but we will, yeah, we'll do some research on that and get back to you. And yeah, thank you for that question. Any other questions? All right, well, I would like to, oh, look at this. We've got, do we have e-certificates for the webinar? That's a great question.
For this webinar, we currently do not have a certificate, but thank you for that question.
Do we do e-certificates, Diana, for webinars?
We have not thus far, but it is something that I can look into, absolutely.
Okay. And just a quick question, would that e-certificate say be something for like AIA credits or something like that? If that's something that you're interested in, we could look and see if our webinars can actually include AIA credits. At this time, I don't know that we have the authority to do that yet, but we could look into that as well. And you're welcome. All right, folks.
Okay, with that, it looks like those are all of the questions. If you would like to reach out to us, Vinnie has just posted the thank you slide where you can reference that number and also reference our email info@topconsolutions.com. If you have any further questions, we will be following up with you. And if you'd like to review this webinar recording, it will be available later on today. So I would like to just say thank you to our presenters, Vinnie and Rob, for a great demonstration. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of our attendees for joining us this Friday. I hope you all have some great plans for the weekend. And with that, thank you very much, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you all, folks.
Right. Thank you.